Ah, Dwango. For 23 years, this is a name that's been a staple of the multiplayer Doom community. Most Doomers today know Dwango as a series of deathmatch packs from the mid-90s. They're generally seen as a relic from an earlier time in Doom mapping history. Some maps from the Dwango series have remained staples in competitive Doom tournaments for many years and remain so today. At its inception, Dwango was much more than a simple series of deathmatch WODs. Let's go back in time to the distant year of 1994. The internet was still a new thing for the vast majority of people. Despite 31% of American households having a computer at the time, only about 11% of households had internet access. The now multi-billion-dollar market for worldwide gaming was still just a glint in the eye of eager developers. Two of those developers were Bob Huntley and Key Kimbrell. Their company, Interactive Visual Systems, or IVS, provided video training, but the duo was eager to break into the already booming gaming market and take players online. After some brainstorming, the two came up with the idea for Dwango. They developed the basic software that it would use to connect players globally. Naturally, since internet gaming did not exist in any widespread form at this point, the pair thought they had struck gold, not just financially, but creatively. The two eagerly pitched their new idea for the Doom Wide Area Network Gaming Operation, or Dwango, to id Software. John Carmack and other id staff were not very enthusiastic about the idea. They really didn't see that much potential for success, but thankfully, the duo found support in none other than John Romero. I mean, there's no surprise there, right? I mean, come on, this is the godfather of deathmatch we're talking about here. After Romero pushed an otherwise reluctant id to give Dwango a chance, Jay Wilbur, then co-owner of id, negotiated a deal for 20% of any profits Dwango might reap. An excited Romero could finally sit down and work further on the concept presented to him by Huntley and Kimbrell. After a bit of time spent slaving away over a hot keyboard, the first version of Dwango's software was ready to be distributed. It initially came bundled with the shareware release of Heretic. Now remember, as we discussed before, Dwango predated widespread consumer access to the internet. Players had to essentially make a long-distance call to Houston to play Dwango with other people at this point. Despite this, it proved extremely popular. The duo was right. They had struck gold and provided the framework for a market that is still booming like crazy to this very day. By the time 1995 rolled around, Dwango was reaping quite a nice profit. Over 10,000 people all around the world were playing games through Dwango. Despite servers being based in America, players were calling in from all over the world, proving that no matter where they lived, they wanted to get in on some of that multiplayer gaming action. The ability to play against a real, thinking, strategizing opponent amazed players. The concept of gaming internationally built up a strong momentum that, even now, shows no signs of stopping. Of the excellent games Dwango came to support, the most popular was Doom 2. Many players began making their own deathmatch maps for play over Dwango, some on the Houston server, some on the Washington DC server, some from just about everywhere. Players were putting together deathmatch arenas far more suitable than the default Doom and Doom 2 maps to blow each other up in. Some of these WODs are still played in Doom servers to this very day, 23 years after they were originally built. Eager to keep their project successful, the company set up headquarters in New York and soon after had set up a franchising system. 22 franchises went up around the world hosting the Dwango service. Now players could more easily find an opponent in their own country, reducing lag and network delays tenfold. By 1996, franchises were dotted all over the planet. You had Dwango servers in America, Australia, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, and several other countries too. It seemed like Dwango was riding a wave of success that simply would not stop. The news had caught on like wildfire, and players around the world wanted to game with each other more than ever before. That much was clear. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. By 1997, Dwango had game servers in 23 cities around the world, but its user base was seeing a sharp decline. The internet was only in 11% of households when Dwango first launched in 1994, but by now, over 30% of Americans were connected to the internet. Dialing long distance to a game server was a concept that was becoming more and more obsolete with each passing day. IVS attempted a deal with Microsoft to garner attention through their Internet Gaming Zone. They even attempted a major marketing campaign, but it had to be aborted as they were unable to raise sufficient funds. At this point, several developers rejected the chance to have Dwango's service integrated into their games. Services like Heat.net and several others were on the rise at this point, offering free multiplayer gaming options as well as paid gaming services. The competition was simply offering deals far cheaper and more accessible than Dwango for the average user. Right around this point, id's new game Quake had grown to new peaks in popularity and was playable over the internet for free, rendering Dwango almost entirely useless for most players. In 1998, Dwango officially closed down its gaming servers. The service was done for. Well, in most parts of the world anyway. Dwango continues to prosper solely in Japan, where it now runs as a telecommunications and media company. That's very bizarre, is it not? Everywhere else around the world, sadly, Dwango closed its doors. Despite a small lifespan of 4 years, Dwango left a permanent mark on the gaming industry. In the mid-90s, it was many players' first taste of global multiplayer gaming, and was the very first ball that got rolling in a market that still flourishes, arguably more than ever before. Dwango has also remained a permanent staple in the Doom community, and served as inspiration for many great deathmatch map packs made in the years since. Dwango will forever have a revered place in gaming history.